The morning of her birthday dawned quietly, with soft light filtering through the curtains, casting gentle patterns on the worn wooden floorboards of the modest house she called home. Maria, the protagonist, awakened with a flutter of anticipation in her chest, a hopeful expectation that today, the day marking another year of her life, would be acknowledged with love, warmth, and the kind of celebration that refugees the heart from the weight of loneliness. For a moment, she allowed herself to indulge in dreams of joyful greetings, warm embraces, and the familiar chorus of happy birthday rising from the mouths of her family. But as the minutes ticked by in the stillness of the morning, that flutter of hope grew quiet, replaced by a growing knot of unease. The house remained still, the silence more profound than usual, as if swallowed by invisibility. Maria rose slowly, trying to shake off the creeping sense of emptiness. She moved through the familiar spaces, the kitchen, the living room, half expecting to find evidence of plans made in her honor. A cake waiting to be lit, colorful balloons hanging from the ceiling, a card lying conspicuously on the table. But there was nothing. No whispered preparations, no faint scent of baking, no distant sounds of laughter or busy hands crafting surprise. Just the quiet hum of routine and neglect. She dressed for the day with careful attention, choosing a simple yet elegant dress that she had bought months earlier with the hope of wearing it for special occasions. The dress felt like a shield as much as a promise, something to protect her fragile optimism from the chill of disappointment. Standing before the mirror, Maria studied her reflection, searching for strength in her own eyes, reminding herself that her worth was not tied to recognition, but to the life she had lived and the love she carried quietly in her heart. The clock on the wall ticked inexorably forward, each passing hour deepening the silence. As the sun climbed higher outside the window, Maria tried to focus on the small joys of the day, the way light danced on the leaves beyond her window, the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee, but her thoughts inevitably returned to the absence that loomed around her. Birthdays, she reminded herself, were as much about connection as about marking time. Today, that connection eluded her. She called out to her family, her voice tentative but carrying a hopeful warmth. "Good morning," she said softly, but no footsteps answered her greeting. She left a subtle note on the kitchen table, a gentle reminder of the day's significance. But when the afternoon came, the note remained untouched, a silent testament to overlooked presence. Each unanswered call and ignored message chipped away at her resolve, leaving a quiet ache that settled in her chest like a gathering storm. Maria's thoughts spiraled inward, revisiting moments when family had gathered around birthday cakes, sharing stories, laughter, and tender glances. The memories were bittersweet, a mixture of joy and longing, reminding her both of what she once had and what now felt just beyond reach. The echoes of those celebrations seemed to haunt the walls, a stark contrast to the emptiness filling the day. Friends and distant relatives sent brief texts and social media greetings, small sparks of acknowledgement that did little to fill the void. They were reminders that the world still held regard for her, even if her immediate family seemed to have receded into forgetfulness. These messages offered fleeting warmth but also magnified the gulf between public recognition and private neglect. As evening approached, the weight of invisibility pressed heavily on Maria's shoulders. The sun's fading light cast elongated shadows across the floor, mirroring the lengthening ache in her heart. She sat alone at the dinner table, the space set for one, the meal simple and unadorned. The silence was almost deafening, an echo chamber for the loneliness that today had wrapped around her like a shroud. In those quiet hours, Maria wrestled with an array of emotions: hurt, disappointment, and a raw, tender sadness that seeped into every corner of her being. Yet beneath the sorrow lay a quiet resolve, a flicker of strength that refused to be extinguished. She reminded herself that her worth was not measured by the attention she received but by the love she gave, the sacrifices she made, and the person she was becoming. Little did Maria know that this day of solitude and forgotten promises was but the prelude to a moment of profound connection and unspoken love. Her son, watching from afar with a heart full of admiration and determination, was quietly preparing a surprise that would shine like a beacon of hope amid the day's shadows. A gift of his first paycheck, a tangible symbol of his growth, gratitude, and deep love for his mother. As the clock ticked toward nightfall, the story of Maria's birthday was poised to shift, moving from a narrative of neglect to one of recognition, bond, and heartfelt surprise. But in these opening hours, the solitude was real, and Maria's experience was a poignant reflection of the loneliness that can accompany being forgotten by those closest, even on a day meant to honor life, love, and presence. Throughout the day, Maria's quiet hope for connection lingered like a fragile thread, stretching thin with each passing hour and unanswered message. After waking to an empty, silent house, she made subtle and gentle efforts to engage her family, small, tentative gestures filled with the soft yearning of a mother seeking recognition on her special day. Early in the morning, she sent texts to her husband and children, careful not to sound disappointed, simply wishing them a good day and casually mentioning that it was her birthday. She avoided directly asking for acknowledgement, bracing herself against the possibility of being overlooked again. Hours passed without replies, the blank screen echoing back her growing unease. Later, she attempted phone calls, reaching out to her daughter's school to ask if there was a plan for celebration or if her birthday had been acknowledged in class. A kind but distracted voice replied no, accentuating the isolation she felt as the day stretched on. Maria even considered reaching out to extended family or friends but hesitated, feeling a mixture of pride, embarrassment, and fear of seeming needy. As the afternoon sun illuminated empty rooms and a home devoid of celebration, Maria busied herself with small domestic tasks, tidying, preparing meals, folding laundry, rituals that momentarily distracted her but did little to soothe the lump of disappointment growing in her throat. Each passing hour underscored her solitude, the silence punctuated only by the distant sounds of life beyond the walls she inhabited alone. With each failed attempt at connection, Maria's sense of invisibility deepened. She wrestled with feelings of rejection, questioning whether family ties had frayed beyond repair or if she had simply become taken for granted, overlooked in the whirlwind of everyday life. The pain was not just about forgetting a date. It was about feeling diminished, unseen, and unvalued by the people she had loved and nurtured so deeply. Compounding her sorrow was a subtle but persistent self-doubt. Was she demanding too much? Was her birthday less important to others than it was to her? These questions circled in her mind as she reflected on the nature of family and affection, realizing that love sometimes spoke in quieter, less visible ways she struggled to perceive on a day meant for celebration. Maria's sadness was not marked by anger, but by a profound ache, a tender wound that felt both raw and familiar. She longed for even a simple gesture, a happy birthday whispered in passing, a phone call, a card left on the table. But these small tokens remained absent, weaving a narrative of neglect and aching doubt. Despite the growing disappointment, Maria clung to a thread of hope, telling herself that her family might yet surprise her, that love could express itself in unexpected forms. She avoided despair by focusing on her son, thinking of him as a bright spot, someone who might understand the weight of the day even if others did not. As afternoon blazed toward evening, Maria found solace in quiet reflection and else small acts of self-care. A bath, a walk to breathe fresh air, a cup of tea savored slowly. The day's unmet expectations softened slightly in the dusk's gentle embrace, replaced by a quiet determination to hold on to hope, to cherish the moments she could still grasp, and to open herself to whatever the night might bring. Unbeknownst to Maria, her son harbored a secret plan, a surprise that would break the day's silence and shadows, rekindling the warmth of family love in the form of his first paycheck, gifted with heartfelt gratitude. But in these long hours of waiting and growing sorrow, the vulnerability of neglect was raw and real, painting the backdrop for a turning point marked by unexpected joy and renewed connection. As the hours of her solitary birthday wore on, Maria found herself drawn to memories from past celebrations, a bittersweet tapestry woven from both joy and nostalgia. Alone in the quiet of her home, she allowed herself to wander back in time, seeking comfort in the warm glow of happier moments shared with her family. She recalled the early years when her children were young, their faces alight with excitement as they gathered around a colorful cake adorned with flickering candles. Those days were filled with laughter and songs, the house echoing with joyful noise as family and friends came together to honor her. Each birthday felt like a celebration not only of her life but of the bonds she had nurtured and the love that surrounded her. The aroma of homemade meals and freshly baked sweets came alive in her mind. Her mother's secret recipe for a rich chocolate cake, the melting smiles of her children as they blew out candles, the gentle teasing and affectionate embraces that made her feel cherished and seen. These memories were etched deeply in her heart, a reservoir of warmth against the coldness of the present day. She remembered the small traditions that marked those birthdays, the carefully chosen gifts wrapped in bright paper, the heartfelt cards full of words that expressed love and gratitude, the family photographs capturing moments frozen in time. Each detail was a thread in a tapestry that reminded her of who she was to those around her and the love she had shared. Yet, alongside the warmth, a shadow crept in, the stark contrast between past and present. The absence of celebration this year felt all the more poignant against the vivid backdrop of cherished memories. The silence around her was almost deafening, a stark reminder of shifting family dynamics, growing distances, and unspoken tensions that had quietly unfolded over time. As she sat quietly, Maria wrestled with the ache of loss, grieving not only the forgotten day but also the gradual fraying of connections that once felt unbreakable. These reflections were tinged with both sadness and understanding. She recognized that life's seasons change, that bonds evolve, and that family is sometimes marked by complexity as much as by love. Through this introspection, Maria found a quiet resilience taking root, a gentle determination to honor her past and hold on to hope for the future. The memories, though bittersweet, reminded her of the unshakable foundation beneath the noise of neglect, the enduring love that had shaped her and which she still carried within. These reflections became a source of solace, a quiet embrace that steadied her spirit as the day stretched toward evening. Though the world outside remained indifferent, the richness of her own history and the strength of her love offered a tether, a reminder that even in loneliness, she was never truly alone. With this renewed inner strength, Maria prepared herself for the moments yet to come, unaware that her son's quiet determination was poised to shatter the day's silence. His surprise awaited, a heartfelt gesture that would rekindle the warmth of family and restore light to a day overshadowed by absence. In that stillness, surrounded by memories and longing, Maria exemplified the resilience of the human heart, a capacity to reflect, to feel deeply, and to hold on to hope when all else seemed forgotten. As the day wore on without acknowledgement or celebration, Maria sank deeper into a well of emotional struggle and isolation, grappling with the sharp pain of being forgotten on a day meant to honor her existence. The loneliness was not simply the absence of company, but a profound sense of invisibility, of being overlooked, unvalued, and disconnected from those she loved most. The silence in her home echoed loudly around her, magnifying the sting of neglect. With every passing hour, Maria felt a growing ache in her chest, a hollow space where warmth and connection should have been. Despite her efforts to reach out, she received no messages, no calls, no signs of recognition. The void left her questioning her place within a family that seemed to have moved forward without her. These feelings awakened a cascade of self-reflection. Maria wrestled with hurt and confusion, asking herself if she had perhaps become invisible to those closest to her, whether her presence was taken for granted or forgotten amidst the rush of daily life. The absence of even the smallest gesture on her birthday, a card, a message, a hug, felt like a rejection that cut deeper than she anticipated. The emotional isolation was compounded by a sense of vulnerability. Maria's heart, so often the pillar of strength for others, now felt exposed and fragile. She struggled with conflicting desires, the yearning to be seen and loved unconditionally, and a fierce, stubborn independence that told her she must stand strong even when overlooked. Despite the loneliness, Maria resisted despair. She acknowledged her pain without letting it define her, recognizing that being forgotten on one day did not diminish her worth or erase the love she had given over the years. She reminded herself of her own resilience, the unyielding spirit that had carried her through challenges and triumphs alike. This internal battle was marked by moments of quiet tears and silent prayers, whispered into the stillness of her empty home. She allowed herself to mourn the loss of attention and affection she had longed for, knowing that grief was a natural response to being hurt. At the same time, she kindled a small flame of hope, believing that even in this darkness, light could yet find its way. Maria's solitude that day was a poignant reminder of the complex emotions that often accompany neglect. Not just sadness, but a longing for connection, a need to be counted and valued, and the courage to face these feelings alone. It was a testament to her humanity, her capacity to feel deeply, and her enduring hope for love and recognition. Unseen by Maria in those quiet moments, her son was preparing to break through the day's isolation with a gesture born of love and pride. Her first real sign that despite the family's forgetfulness, bonds of affection and gratitude endured. But in this space of emotional struggle, Maria's vulnerability was raw and real, shaping a narrative of resilience that would soon be met with an unexpected and beautiful surprise. While Maria was quietly enduring the pain of being forgotten on her birthday, unaware of the passing hours and growing silence, her son, Daniel, was quietly shaping a plan that would turn the day's sorrow into a remarkable moment of love and connection. Though the family had overlooked the significance of the day, Daniel's heart was filled with a fierce determination to make his mother feel cherished and valued. Daniel was a young man on the cusp of adulthood, navigating the challenges of building his life with a sense of responsibility and pride. Recent months had seen him stepping into new roles, securing his first job, managing independent finances, and cultivating a deeper understanding of what it meant to contribute to his family. Though he was navigating uncertainty and the pressures of growing up, his love for his mother remained steadfast. Unbeknownst to Maria, Daniel had been quietly saving the money he earned from his job, determined that his mother would know how much he appreciated her sacrifices and unwavering support. Each paycheck, carefully counted and tucked away, was a testament to his hard work and growing maturity, a symbol of his ability to not only care for himself but to give back to the woman who had always been his anchor. Throughout the day, Daniel struggled with the knowledge of the family's oversight. He sensed his mother's quiet sadness, the way she moved through her routines with a weight in her eyes. He wanted more than anything to erase that hurt and offer her something that would speak louder than words, something tangible that would remind her she was loved, seen, and celebrated. Daniel's preparation was humble but deeply heartfelt. He wrapped his first paycheck in a simple envelope, pairing it with a handwritten note expressing his gratitude and love. In the note, he acknowledged the difficulties they faced as a family while reaffirming his commitment to their bond. His words were raw and sincere, filled with the tender authenticity that only a son's love can carry. Despite his nerves and the vulnerability of the gesture, Daniel was resolved to make this gift a moment she would remember, not for its monetary value, but for its emotional significance. He rehearsed in his mind how he would present the gift, imagining the surprise and, most importantly, the relief and joy it might bring to her heart. Throughout the day, Daniel balanced his work and preparations with quiet anticipation. In the hum of daily life, between shifts and errands, he held close the hope of offering his mother a moment of light in a day clouded by neglect. His determination was a beacon of resilience, a reminder that love often speaks in the smallest, most unexpected gifts. Daniel's actions reflected a deep understanding of family, not just the ties of blood, but the bonds forged through shared hardship, love, and mutual respect. His first paycheck was more than money. It was a tangible expression of his growth, gratitude, and the unbreakable connection he cherished with his mother. In the solitude of the birthday's fading light, Daniel's plans quietly paved the way for a turning point, a moment of unexpected joy that would bring warmth and healing to a day otherwise marked by absence. His quiet determination was a testament to the power of love to transcend neglect and transform even the loneliest moments into memories of hope and belonging. Daniel's first paycheck arrived as a milestone not just in his personal journey but as a symbol of growth, independence, and responsibility, a tangible proof that he was stepping into adulthood with determination and pride. The moment held profound significance far beyond the numbers on the pay stub, It represented his ability to contribute, to support, and to honor the sacrifices his mother had made for him throughout his life. Working diligently at a small local business, Daniel had faced the usual trials of a first job: uncertainty about schedules, learning new skills, balancing demands, but through it all, he remained steadfast, driven by a quiet sense of purpose. The paycheck was the culmination of his efforts, the physical manifestation of hours worked and challenges met. For Daniel, this first paycheck was not just about earning money. It was about reclaiming dignity, proving to himself and others that he could stand on his feet and support the people he loved. It was a step toward building a future where he could offer not only emotional support but practical help, contributing meaningfully to the family's well-being. In the weeks leading up to Maria's birthday, Daniel held onto the paycheck carefully, hiding it away with careful thought. He understood the power it held, not as currency but as a message. By giving it to his mother, he wanted to say thank you for her unwavering love, for the sacrifices she'd made, and for the ways she had quietly ensured he never lacked what he needed to grow. The paycheck became a silent promise, a bridge between their worlds. To Maria, it would be more than money. It would be a sign that her son was growing, becoming the man she had hoped for, ready to share responsibilities, hopes, and dreams. To Daniel, it was a way to express gratitude through action, bypassing the spoken words that sometimes felt insufficient. This milestone also signaled a shift in their relationship, moving from dependence toward partnership, from child to contributor. Daniel's ability to earn and give marked a new chapter, one where the family could lean on each other more equally, building bonds not just of blood but of mutual respect and shared endeavor. The paycheck symbolized hope amid hardship, a reminder that growth and progress could emerge from difficult circumstances. It was a beacon for both mother and son, illuminating the path toward renewal, connection, and deeper understanding. As the day of the surprise approached, Daniel's heart swelled with pride and nervous anticipation. He knew this gift would not erase the pain of the forgotten birthday, but he believed it would show his mother that she was never truly alone, that in the quiet strength of her son's love, there was always a place to find light, warmth, and belonging. The first paycheck was more than a sum. It was a heartfelt tribute, a tender gesture, and a promise of love expressed in the language of action. A gift that would transform the day and deepen their bond in unforgettable ways. Daniel's first paycheck arrived as a milestone not just in his personal journey but as a symbol of growth, independence, and responsibility, a tangible proof that he was stepping into adulthood with determination and pride. The moment held profound significance far beyond the numbers on the pay stub. It represented his ability to contribute, to support, and to honor the sacrifices his mother had made for him throughout his life. Working diligently at a small local business, Daniel had faced the usual trials of a first job: uncertainty about schedules, learning new skills, balancing demands, but through it all, he remained steadfast, driven by a quiet sense of purpose. The paycheck was the culmination of his efforts, the physical manifestation of hours worked and challenges met. For Daniel, this first paycheck was not just about earning money. It was about reclaiming dignity, proving to himself and others that he could stand on his feet and support the people he loved. It was a step toward building a future where he could offer not only emotional support but practical help, contributing meaningfully to the family's well-being. In the weeks leading up to Maria's birthday, Daniel held onto the paycheck carefully, hiding it away with careful thought. He understood the power it held, not as currency but as a message. By giving it to his mother, he wanted to say thank you for her unwavering love, for the sacrifices she'd made, and for the ways she had quietly ensured he never lacked what he needed to grow. The paycheck became a silent promise, a bridge between their worlds. To Maria, it would be more than money. It would be a sign that her son was growing, becoming the man she had hoped for, ready to share responsibilities, hopes, and dreams. To Daniel, it was a way to express gratitude through action, bypassing the spoken words that sometimes felt insufficient. This milestone also signaled a shift in their relationship, moving from dependence toward partnership, from child to contributor. Daniel's ability to earn and give marked a new chapter, one where the family could lean on each other more equally, building bonds not just of blood but of mutual respect and shared endeavor. The paycheck symbolized hope amid hardship, a reminder that growth and progress could emerge from difficult circumstances. It was a beacon for both mother and son, illuminating the path toward renewal, connection, and deeper understanding. As the day of the surprise approached, Daniel's heart swelled with pride and nervous anticipation. He knew this gift would not erase the pain of the forgotten birthday, but he believed it would show his mother that she was never truly alone, that in the quiet strength of her son's love, there was always a place to find light, warmth, and belonging. The first paycheck was more than a sum. It was a heartfelt tribute, a tender gesture, and a promise of love expressed in the language of action. A gift that would transform the day and deepen their bond in unforgettable ways. Daniel's first paycheck marked a significant milestone. More than just money, it symbolized his transition into adulthood. Having recently secured his first job, Daniel felt proud and responsible, understanding the importance of this earnings as a sign of independence and growth. This milestone wasn't only a personal achievement but a meaningful opportunity to give back to his mother, who had supported him through numerous hardships and sacrifices. Receiving this paycheck was filled with mixed emotions for Daniel. Excitement for his new independence, but also a deep desire to use this moment to express gratitude. He saw this milestone as a bridge to strengthen his relationship with his mother, showing her that he was becoming capable and responsible. This paycheck was a physical token of his love, respect, and commitment to family. Every penny earned felt like a step forward on a path toward future stability and the ability to contribute more significantly. It was a source of pride that he intended to share with his mother, symbolizing not only financial support but also emotional appreciation. To Daniel, presenting this paycheck as a gift held emotional weight far beyond its monetary value. It represented trust, love, and hope for the future. This milestone deepened Daniel's understanding of maturity, responsibility, and the meaningful ways in which care for family can be expressed. It foreshadowed a turning point for mother and son alike, a moment of celebration that would transform a day marked by loneliness into one filled with connection, hope, and renewed bonds. As the evening shadows grew long and the day's loneliness pressed heavily on Maria's heart, an unexpected moment pierced through the quiet, a moment that would forever be etched in her memory as a turning point, a spark of hope amid the neglect. Just as the weight of the forgotten birthday seemed unbearable, her son Daniel returned home with a purposeful light in his eyes and a gesture of profound love in his hands. Daniel approached Maria with a mixture of nervousness and excitement, his heart racing with the hope that this simple act would convey a depth of emotion words often failed to express. Carefully, he presented her with a small envelope, wrapped modestly but carrying immense significance. Inside was his first paycheck, a tangible symbol of his growth, dedication, and gratitude. With gentle hands, Maria took the envelope, surprise widening her eyes as realization dawned. Tears welled up as the profound meaning of the gift settled around her. This was far more than money. It was Daniel's way of saying, "I see you, I love you, and I am grateful for everything you've done." The gesture spoke volumes, bridging the gulf left by the day's earlier silence. Daniel's voice trembled slightly as he expressed his feelings, recounting the sacrifices Maria had made and how they had shaped him into the man he was becoming. His words, sincere and heartfelt, wrapped around her like a warm embrace, dissolving the loneliness that had wrapped itself tight throughout the day. It was a moment where vulnerability and love intersected, highlighting the unique and unbreakable bond between mother and son. Maria's heart swelled with a mix of pride and relief, touched deeply by Daniel's maturity and thoughtfulness. The gift represented acknowledgement, not only of her birthday but of her tireless support and unwavering presence in her son's life. This small but mighty act restored her faith in family bonds and infused the evening with joy and renewed connection. Others in the household began to notice the shift, the warmth in Maria's eyes, the lightness in her smile. The surprise opened pathways for conversation, laughter, and stories about Daniel's new job and the dreams he held for the future. The atmosphere, once heavy with neglect, now buzzed with a gentle hopefulness grounded in love and appreciation. The paycheck gift became a symbol of resilience, the power of a small gesture to heal emotional wounds and rekindle the flames of belonging. In that quiet exchange, Maria was reminded that even in times of hardship and forgetfulness, love can find its way through unexpected channels. This moment marked a profound reversal for Maria's birthday. A day that had seemed lost to loneliness was transformed into a celebration of growth, gratitude, and the enduring strength of family ties. The surprise was not just the gift but the deeper message it carried. That even in silence, love had spoken loudly and clearly, renewing Maria's spirit and the bond she shared with her son. As the evening unfolded, the gift rippled outward, slowly touching hearts and setting the stage for healing and deeper connection throughout their family. In this act of giving, Daniel and Maria found a new beginning, one marked by hope, resilience, and the timeless power of love expressed in the smallest, most meaningful gestures. In the glow of the heartfelt surprise, an intimate and transformative moment unfolded between Maria and her son Daniel, one that would deepen their bond and open new paths of understanding between them. The simple act of receiving his first paycheck on a day otherwise marked by neglect became more than a gift. It became a catalyst for honest conversation, emotional closeness, and mutual recognition. Sophia held the envelope in her hands, the weight of the gesture settling in her heart. She looked at Daniel, seeing not only her son but a young man stepping into adulthood, bearing both the pride of achievement and the humility of gratitude. This moment, raw and genuine, unspooled layers of love and vulnerability that words alone could not convey. Daniel spoke softly, sharing his experiences at work, the challenges he faced, the lessons he learned, and the pride he felt in being able to contribute to the family in a new way. His voice carried not only maturity but a deep respect for Maria's sacrifices, acknowledging the role she had played in shaping his journey. This declaration bridged the gap between their roles as mother and son, moving them toward a partnership built on openness and shared purpose. Maria responded with tears of joy and gratitude, expressing how much the gesture meant to her, not as material support alone but as evidence of Daniel's growth and their enduring connection. She shared her feelings of loneliness and longing from the day, finding in Daniel's understanding a balm for old hurts. Their conversation unfolded with honesty and tenderness, weaving threads of healing into the fabric of their relationship. This deeply personal exchange opened space for reflection on past misunderstandings and unspoken emotions. They spoke of the challenges that had clouded their family dynamics, the moments of distance, neglect, and silent pain, and explored ways to nurture a more supportive and loving future. Daniel's gift became a bridge not only of gratitude but of hope and reconciliation. Through this dialogue, Maria and Daniel found renewed respect for one another's journeys. Maria saw her son as a partner in their family's future, capable of shared responsibility and care. Daniel, in turn, recognized his mother's strength and vulnerability, gaining a deeper appreciation for the complexities she carried with quiet courage. Their strengthened bond rippled gently through the family, signaling a shift toward greater communication and empathy. The openness they fostered became an example, encouraging others to express their love and support more freely and fostering a climate of connection and forgiveness. This moment marked a turning point, a move from isolation toward intimacy, from silent suffering to shared understanding. It underscored the power of simple, sincere gestures to heal wounds and deepen relationships, proving that love expressed through action can speak louder than words alone. As mother and son embraced the promise of this new chapter, they stood united against the challenges that life might bring, their hearts linked by trust, appreciation, and the profound knowledge that even in hardship, connection can be reborn and strengthened. In the quiet aftermath of the surprise, Maria and Daniel's relationship emerged transformed, rooted not only in blood but in shared growth, mutual respect, and the enduring power of love to bridge pain and foster hope. This newfound understanding set the foundation for a future rich with deeper bonds, resilience, and joy. Daniel's heartfelt gesture and the touching moment between mother and son did not go unnoticed within the family circle. What began as a private exchange soon rippled outward, stirring reflection and stirring emotions among those who had earlier overlooked Maria's birthday. The simple yet powerful act of kindness sparked a quiet reckoning, prompting family members to examine their own behaviors, feelings, and roles in the unfolding family dynamic. As word of Daniel's gift and the emotional connection it fostered spread, some relatives were moved to confront their own neglect and distance. The unassuming paycheck became a symbol, not only of Daniel's maturity but of the gaps long left unbridged within the family. The realization that Maria's loneliness had gone largely unnoticed urged them to reflect on their priorities, prompting gentle apologies and gestures of reconciliation. Conversations previously avoided for fear of conflict began to emerge, fostered by a shared desire to heal fractures and rebuild the family's foundation. Siblings, cousins, and extended relatives started to openly address misunderstandings and past grievances that had festered beneath the surface. This renewed dialogue created a fragile but hopeful space where empathy and forgiveness could take root. Maria, supported now by Daniel's courage and the shifting family atmosphere, found herself at the center of these tentative reconciliations. Her vulnerability became a bridge that connected hearts and softened defenses. Family members, touched by her pain and resilience, expressed a newfound appreciation and commitment to nurturing stronger bonds. Practical changes followed the emotional shifts. The family began to make plans for more inclusive celebrations, ensuring that future milestones were honored with attentiveness and warmth. Collective efforts were made to recognize each member's value, acknowledging that connection requires active participation, presence, and care. This process was not without its challenges. Deep-seated resentments and habits of neglect did not vanish overnight. Some family members struggled to move beyond old patterns, grappling with their own fears and insecurities. Yet the momentum generated by Daniel's gesture and Maria's openness created a sustaining force for gradual transformation. Within this evolving dynamic, Daniel's gift took on an even greater meaning. It was a catalyst for change and a symbol of hope, proof that even small acts of love can inspire healing and unity. The family began to envision a future where shared joy and support would replace silence and isolation. Maria embraced this period of renewal with cautious optimism, aware that lasting change requires patience, humility, and continued effort. She found strength in seeing her family's willingness to grow and in Daniel's role as a bridge between past neglect and future possibility. In this chapter of reconciliation, the family moved closer to rebuilding trust and affection, learning that healing begins with acknowledgement and is sustained by consistent empathy. The forgotten birthday became an opportunity for transformation, a moment where love's quiet power reshaped relationships and invited a collective journey toward wholeness. Ultimately, this shift offered a renewed vision of family, not as a perfect institution, but as an evolving, living network of bonds that can deepen through understanding, forgiveness, and commitment. The legacy of that day, marked by Daniel's thoughtful gift, was one of hope rekindled and hearts mended, setting the stage for a more connected, compassionate future. Daniel's heartfelt gesture and the touching moment between mother and son did not go unnoticed within the family circle. What began as a private exchange soon rippled outward, stirring reflection and emotions among those who had earlier overlooked Maria's birthday. The simple yet powerful act of kindness sparked a quiet reckoning, prompting family members to examine their own behaviors, feelings, and roles in the family dynamic. As word of Daniel's gift and the emotional connection it fostered spread, some relatives were moved to confront their own neglect and distance. The unassuming paycheck became a symbol, not only of Daniel's maturity but of the gaps long left unbridged within the family. The realization that Maria's loneliness had gone largely unnoticed urged them to reflect on their priorities, prompting gentle apologies and gestures of reconciliation. Conversations previously avoided for fear of conflict began to emerge, fostered by a shared desire to heal fractures and rebuild the family's foundation. Siblings, cousins, and extended relatives started to address misunderstandings and past grievances that had festered beneath the surface. This renewed dialogue created a fragile but hopeful space where empathy and forgiveness could take root. Maria, supported now by Daniel's courage and the shifting family atmosphere, found herself at the center of these tentative reconciliations. Her vulnerability became a bridge that connected hearts and softened defenses. Family members, touched by her pain and resilience, expressed newfound appreciation and a commitment to nurturing stronger bonds. Practical changes followed the emotional shifts. The family began to make plans for more inclusive celebrations, ensuring that future milestones were honored with attentiveness and warmth. Collective efforts were made to recognize each member's value, acknowledging that connection requires active participation, presence, and care. This process was not without its challenges. Deep-seated resentments and habits of neglect did not vanish overnight. Some family members struggled to move beyond old patterns, grappling with their own fears and insecurities. Yet the momentum generated by Daniel's gesture and Maria's openness created a sustaining force for gradual transformation. Within this evolving dynamic, Daniel's gift took on an even greater meaning. It was a catalyst for change and a symbol of hope, proof that even small acts of love can inspire healing and unity. The family began to envision a future where shared joy and support would replace silence and isolation. Maria embraced this period of renewal with cautious optimism, aware that lasting change requires patience, humility, and continued effort. She found strength in seeing her family's willingness to grow and in Daniel's role as a bridge between past neglect and future possibility. In this chapter of reconciliation, the family moved closer to rebuilding trust and affection, learning that healing begins with acknowledgement and is sustained by consistent empathy. The forgotten birthday became an opportunity for transformation, a moment where love's quiet power reshaped relationships and invited a collective journey toward wholeness. Ultimately, this shift offered a renewed vision of family, not as a perfect institution, but as an evolving, living network of bonds that can deepen through understanding, forgiveness, and commitment. The legacy of that day, marked by Daniel's thoughtful gift, was one of hope rekindled and hearts mended, setting the stage for a more connected, compassionate future. As time passed after the emotional turning point marked by Daniel's heartfelt gift, Maria found herself stepping into a future illuminated by renewed hope and deepened family bonds. The forgotten birthday, once a symbol of neglect and loneliness, had blossomed into a foundation for growth, reconciliation, and a more vibrant sense of belonging, both within her family and within herself. Maria's heart, once heavy with sorrow, now carried a lighter, more resilient rhythm. The surprise gift had rekindled her faith in the power of love's small, authentic gestures to heal wounds and bridge divides. It reminded her that even amidst trials and misunderstandings, connections could be restored and nurtured with patience and care. The family gatherings transformed gradually but profoundly. Birthdays and special occasions were no longer taken for granted. They became celebrations of presence, gratitude, and shared joy. Collective efforts ensured that no one would again feel invisible or forgotten. These moments echoed with laughter, stories, and grateful embraces, weaving new threads into the family's tapestry. Maria and Daniel's relationship flourished, marked by mutual respect, support, and open communication. Their bond stood as a testament to the power of vulnerability and love to transcend hardship and foster enduring closeness. Together, they navigated life's challenges with renewed strength, grounded in the lessons learned from that unforgettable birthday. Beyond their immediate family, the transformation inspired others to reflect on their own relationships. It became a ripple effect, encouraging empathy, kindness, and attentiveness within extended circles, cultivating a culture of care and connection that extended beyond celebration days. For Maria, the journey was as much about reclaiming her own worth as about rebuilding relationships. She embraced a renewed sense of self, one shaped not by external recognition alone, but by the deep well of love within and the courage to seek and give connection. Her experience became a quiet beacon for others navigating loneliness and neglect, a reminder that healing is possible and that love often shows up in the simplest acts. The vineyard of her life, once shadowed by silence, now flourished with the vibrant colors of hope, forgiveness, and belonging. Each future birthday was a promise, a testament to resilience, family, and the transformative power of love expressed through presence and heartfelt gestures. Maria looked forward with a heart open to joy and connection, carrying forward the legacy of that day not as a memory of pain, but as a seed of renewal planted deeply in her soul. The story closed with a serene embrace of life's possibilities, where love is never lost, but always waiting to be rediscovered, celebrated, and cherished anew. In this gentle unfolding, Maria understood that the truest celebration is the ongoing journey of healing and loving, a continuous gift she offered herself and her family with grace, hope, and unwavering courage. The legacy of the forgotten birthday had become a living testament to the enduring power of love's quiet, beautiful resilience.